January, Shinobu was trapped at a brick plant against the advice of the Humane Society. With nowhere to really go with him, they got in touch with me to see if I could help. We were able to accommodate him, and although he was believed to be feral, he had definitely had human contact before. He was immediately friendly and let me pet him, but for some reason, afraid to come out of his cage. He needed cleaned up a bit, so since I knew he wouldn't attack me, I got to work. He had some ear mites that needed taken care of, and his fur needed a little love, but overall, he was in really good health. For whatever reason, when he was in his cage, he was totally fine with me, but once he was out of it, he would give me this look like I was gonna get him and just run off in the opposite direction and hide. He did that for probably like the first 2 weeks he was coming out before he figured out I'm not a vet that's coming to like chop his balls off again or whatever he thought was going on. Once he finally realized everything was safe, he was super excited to explore the shelter and find his way to the toy stash. FIV is fairly common, especially among cats living on the street. So we built the shelter after finding out Papa Cat was FIV positive and couldn't really be put back out without putting everyone else at risk of catching it. The cats in my house are way too territorial to trust them not to start fights with a newcomer, so that would have put them at risk of catching it too. Finding him a home was certainly possible, but how long would that take considering his medical status? Even perfectly healthy cats can take a long time. Initially, we were planning on building something small just for him, but with how common it is, what happens when we go to TNR someone else and they have it? Are we just gonna euthanize? Obviously not. So I made sure we would have room for at least a few. Public intake has pretty much always been off the table for me, but because the Humane Society does so much for our community and I trust them, I'm willing to make exceptions. Dior and our kitten Echo came to stay with us in, I think it was early June. They were FIV positive and on the chopping block at the city shelter, so again, the Humane Society reached out to see if we could do it. Shinobu made such a good foster dad, he just loved having a little baby around. There was finally someone with as much energy as he had. They made sure there was never a boring moment. I don't think I ever saw him as happy as he was when she was here. Now that Echo has moved on, he chases Dior and Toofus around until they get annoyed and beat him up. He's had a pretty eventful first year. We kept trying to show him all his stuff, but he was so excited about his cake that I couldn't get him to pay attention to anything else. He was too busy trying to get on the shelf I stuck it on. I probably should have waited to bring that in until we were done with everything else, but I decided since he was so distracted by it, we would make that our first order of business. Our cat birthday cakes aren't anything too extravagant, but I think they're fun. I use a can of pâté for the base, and then it's just iced with some churro and topped with a little churro bites, and then I used a light-up candle so that they don't catch fire when they inevitably stick their face in it. I added a bonker pop to this one too, because it looked super cute on there like that, and I think I'll be adding those from now on. I can't believe Toofus isn't over here getting in on the action. Papa Cat went to take a nap over by the heater, so it's just Dior and Shinobu on the case. More for them, I guess. I don't think they're complaining. Papa Cat's second birthday with us is coming up, but instead of making him a cake again this year, I think I'll just do a little treat feast for him. I figure since he doesn't have teeth now, it'll probably be a little easier than trying to gnaw apart a pâté cake. I accidentally bought a really short roll of wrapping paper for this, so it wasn't actually big enough to cover it if I wrapped it the normal way, so I had to wrap it super weird and use way more paper. He seemed to have fun tearing it up at least. He got to pretend like he was out playing in the snowfall. I feel like this was a classic case of a cat being more into the packaging than the present. I generally tend to keep a pretty pastel color palette in the shelter, but I thought this tower really fit him, so I couldn't help myself. It's got the little coffin bed up top that I think he'll really like. It should sit at just the right height for the heater to blow directly on him, which he will absolutely love. He wanted to help assemble his birthday tower so he could make sure everything was up to code. Something load-bearing bats. This one was way easier and quicker to put together than their big one was, but once it was done, he abandoned ship and started ignoring it. I think he just wants to see what's next. Ah yes, the customary papier-mâché treat donkey. If you ask me, it's the best part of any birthday party. I got them a piñata because I thought they would have fun attacking it together, but Toofus decided it was worth throwing down over and kept chasing everyone else away. She's such a menace. She's like a third of his size, but I watched her throw Shinobu at several feet the other day, so he probably doesn't want any problems. We tried to offer it to him when she was done having her fun, but I think he was rightfully worried that she would just come back and take it from him if he tried, so he sat back there and pouted instead. He would not be wrong for thinking that, though. We had the big pink cat tower in here, but we had to put it away for a while after last year's ringworm outbreak. Ringworm is a fungus, not a worm, so it spreads by spores that are nearly impossible to kill or get rid of in upholstery like that. So I figured the best thing I could do would be to store it for at least 18 months while I wait for them to die off naturally. So in the meantime, I got them this little one to have fun with. I think when we're done with it in here, I'll put it outside for all the stray cats to play on. They'll be bigger by then, so I don't think they'll all be able to fit on it at once, but they can take turns. Dior is an absolute fiend, so it was a bad idea to try and share with her. She is downright ravenous when it comes to treats. She was pretty thin when she got here, but she's quickly become a little butterball. She stole like half his cake and now is bonker pop too. She has no manners when it comes to food. I think we're gonna have to send her off to finishing school to work on her etiquette. They seem to be liking it, but I think Shinobu is having a hard time fitting in the little house part of it. He's a really big guy, so it might get used by Toofus and Dior more than him. Toofus has always loved little hidey holes like this, so I think it'll get plenty of use one way or another. Papa Cat hasn't really checked it out yet, but I already know he's gonna like the top part. His birthday's on the 17th, so now I gotta get ready for that. He got a $600 dental surgery for his birthday though, so I probably won't go too crazy this year. Toofus is in the beginning of April if I remember correctly, and I think Dior's is in June. Shinobu's due for revaccination, and I'm gonna get him microchipped while we're there too. I forgot Dior didn't have a microchip, so I need to get her one. Papa Cat has a vet recheck in a few days to look over his mouth, but once he's done there, we should be heading to the neighboring town to pick up our newest intake. He'll be going into isolation for 2 weeks before moving into the shelter. He also needs a microchip. Spoingus and Bingus should be ready for their neuters and microchips. We need microchips all around. Luckily, they're only like $50 plus the price of the visit, so it's pretty affordable. I have a feeling we're about to spend more on all the routine vet bills in February than we did on the oral surgery in January. But it seems we've got a lot of fun stuff to look forward to over the coming months. And hopefully our new friend will find himself at home here. Once he's all finished up, I plan on listing him for adoption. I'll start posting Dior for adoption again once I get her microchipped. Hopefully we can find them some good forever homes and clear up some space for the next ones who need our help.